come here. Let me show you how to crack some conch. Not conch, 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 conch. Yo, what is conch? Conch is the snail that lives inside of this conch shell. See this? Some of y'all may not even know what this is or what it is that lives in this shell. It is a snail that is called the conch. Now, how does that look? The snail that lives in that, now I did kind of prepare the rest of it, but I kept one whole so that you can kind of have an idea of how this looks. Now, hold on, let me put my next glove on really quick so I can kind of take you to science class really quick. So this is the meat of the conch. So this area of the conch, this will have a nail on the end of it, or the toe or the foot. This is what kind of sits outside of the lip of this conch shell. This part of the shell is what's inside of the conch shell. Now there will be the guts bag as well as the red of the conch that is also going to be attached to this meaty part of the conch. Now this conch did come from the fish market, so it has been cleaned. Relatively, I enjoy the red and the bubby of the conch. Now the bubby is the part of the conch that kind of extends through the spikes. I'll pick this up in a minute to show you what the spikes are on the end, and it's more of a chewier consistency as well as the conch red. If you see right here how it has a little bit of red on this side, it's almost like a flap, like a wavy flap that is attached to this piece. So here on this end where the nail is how the conch actually travels through the sea. So on the ocean floor, the sea floor, it would travel with the little nail like so. So this is the conch. So this is the edible piece of the conch besides the red as well as the bubby. All right, so I have since, unfortunately, my fish market did not have a grinder. So I have then since bruised this conch. So I kind of like filleted it. I put it inside of a Ziploc bag and I bruised it with a mallet. I'll show you what that mallet looks like in a minute. So I kind of like laid it flat. You must put this inside of a bag or you must cover it with something, because the minute you start bruising that conch, that is going to splat and go everywhere, and you don't want to make a mess in the kitchen, especially if you're doing it indoors. So that is why this looks like this. So I filleted it and then I bruised it. See how I bruised it? And it's kind of like tenderized, in other words. So that is how that's going to look. Now, if you do not do this, then the conch or your cracked conch is going to be very tough if you don't. So I suggest if you cannot get it tenderized before you buy it or when you buy it, make sure that you make the effort and take the extra time out to tenderize it yourself. Now, before I got to the tenderizing point, I did soak this in some salt water to kind of like bring it back to life just a little bit because this did come, it didn't come out of the sea directly, which would be the best way to eat your conch. It came from the shop, so that was my way of kind of like bringing it back to life. Now, cracked lobster. We have us a spiny lobster, so this would be a Florida lobster. This is how that looks. And I did not have to bruise that because lobster meat is quite tender, but I did kind of cut it into fingers because we are going to deep fry this as well. So that would be your cracked lobster as well as your cracked conch. All right, so now that we have that understood, what are you going to need? You are going to need the seasonings of your choice. Now, I did have some cracked lobster at a Bahamian restaurant that was the best. And the one thing that kind of stood out to me was lime. I don't know if it was lime or lemon. So I am going to use some lime pepper. I am also going to use some island seasoning. Now, this seasoning here is a mixture of different seasonings in one. I'm also going to use some adobo just to kind of like wake up these seasonings that we have here. We have some parsley for pretty, so this is for the end. You're also going to need some flour so that you can batter. We're not going to do wet dry. We're just going to dust it with the flour and we're going to fry it. Some hot sauce. You're going to need some peanut oil, grease, oil, whatever it is that you do. Yes, it is empty because it's done on the stove. It's on the stove to get hot because you want to make sure that your oil is to temperature before you start adding your meats or what you're, in this case, the seafood. You're going to need some ketchup, some mayo, some limes, as well as an onion. The onion is what we are going to dress this conch and lobster with, and your limes, ketchup, and ketchup, mayo, and hot sauce is for your calypso sauce, island sauce, or whatever it is. I'm going to show you how to make that as well. All right, so we know what we are. We know what we're doing. Let's go ahead and start seasoning this lobster and conch. Okay, why do I have a pilon and we're cooking cracked conch? All right, so what I want to do is I want to ground up all of these seasonings together. As I told you, this particular season here has herbs in it, so I don't want those herbs to burn when I'm frying it. I am going to ground that up as much as I can to create a very smooth consistency. And this was just some classic island seasoning. I'm going to use some adobo. And I am also going to use some lime pepper. Hold on. Let me open. I am just going to grind this together until it becomes a nice, smooth powder, as smooth as I can get it. So this is nice and smooth. I am going to show you when I say smooth, like this. See that? So we are going to now season our conch and our lobster. Remember, seafood does not take much to season. You can make your seafood too salty very quickly. And unfortunately, it's probably no way to come back from that once you have done that. All right, so I'm going to take my conch and I am going to put it in the bowl. Or you can put it in a bag, or you can put it, whatever. However you want to do it, you can do it. Now, with the seasoning, I am just going to dust some over the conch. Save some for your lobster. And just give it a mix. I'm going to take this out, set it aside, and I'm going to do the same with the lobster. Same thing. Just going to share it out just a little bit. And give that a mix. So I'm going to take this out and let this rest for a minute. And I am going to dust we're going to do the conch first. We're going to crack the conch first with some flour. So I'm going to add back my conch to the bowl, And I am just going to add the flour into the bowl, and I'm going to use my my strainer to dust the excess thingam off it, the flour. So we're going to add our flour. Oh shit. Flour. Like such. Just because I am pro seasoned flour, so I'm just going to go in with some adobo, and we're just going to add a little bit of that to the top. So that conch absorbed a lot of that flour very nicely. So I am just going to put it right here so that can rest just a little bit, because we do not fry, coal, nothing, right? Right. I thought I was going to need the strainer, but I didn't. Same deal with the lobster. I'm going to put the lobster into the bowl, and I am going to dust some flour on it. Okay, so we're just going to share this plate right there. Flour. Oil is at perfect temperature. Well, we'll deal with this. Perfect temperature, 350 degrees, and I am going to add in my conch. Once golden brown, you're going to take that out of that oil. Look at that. Same deal with the lobster. Now the lobster is going to cook faster than the conch, so just be mindful and watch it. Although I'm going to dress my conch, and when I say dress, I am going to put the mayo, ketchup, hot sauce, and onions on top of it. But I'm going to show you how to make some island sauce, calypso sauce, whatever it is that you want to call it. So you're going to need some mayonnaise. You're going to need some ketchup. Your judgment, depending on how much of what it is that you want, and some hot sauce. Also going to need a juice of a lime. And just give it a stir. Give it a taste. Perfect. Okay, let's go mine the lobster. This is ready. Let's take this out. And onto the cooling rack. Let's get us some of this lobster. Couple pieces of conch. Should have had some fries, but that's all right. All right, so we have some cracked conch and cracked lobster. Now you can choose to dip it or you can dress it. And when I say dress it, we are going to put some onions on that. Like such. We are going to add some ketchup. Some mayonnaise. Some hot sauce. Hot sauce. And of course, some pretty. And there you have it. We have some cracked conch and cracked lobster dressed Bahamian style. So the only thing left now to do is what? Right. Let's go for the conch first because that's not as hot. Get you some of them onions and get you a bite. Wonderful. Let's take a dip in this conch sauce. Let's go for some lobster. Gotta have that perfect bite. Come, come, come. Wonderful. Look at that. Let's dip in some sauce. Oh, it's hot. Woo. Okay, Papa, you can't eat this. Even Bill said that smelled good. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Cracked conch, cracked lobster, Bahamian style. So tell me, what did you think? What did you see? How did you feel? Let me know. Drop that in the comments. That is great. I love me some good food, but I love y'all for life. Muchos besitos. Peace.